All right. Welcome back, everyone. Ready for another deep dive. Today, we're going deep on Kobe Bryant.
Definitely.
I am pumped.
Yeah.
This is going to be fun. We've got a ton of your requests for this one, articles, stats, even some personal stories.
It's amazing. It's incredible how much is out there about him.
Yeah, and it really shows you the impact he had, not just in basketball, but everywhere, right?
Absolutely.
So I want to kick things off, something that really jumped out at me while I was reading through all this stuff. We always think about Kobe as this NBA icon, right? But his story actually starts across the world in Italy. His dad played Pro Bowl over there, so Kobe spent a chunk of his childhood soaking up Italian culture, even becoming fluent in the language. Like, imagine that.
Yeah.
Just picture little Kobe hanging out on the streets of Italy, speaking Italian.
Yeah, that's a unique perspective to bring, coming up in that environment.
Yeah, totally.
It wasn't just the culture either. He was exposed to a whole different style of basketball over there.
Yeah, that's right.
You'd see it later on in his footwork, the way he passed, how he saw the court. It was like he had this secret weapon, this European flair that gave him an edge.
Oh, I never even thought about it that way. Okay, so he's got this unique background, right? Then we fast forward to high school, and this guy is just shattering records left and right. He even surpassed Wilt Chamberlain in his region. And to top it off, he leads his team to a state championship.
Right. I mean, talent's one thing, but to dominate at that level, that shows you the work ethic, that Mamba mentality everyone talks about. It was there from the beginning.
Absolutely, yeah. He was backing it up from day one. Okay, so now picture this. It's the 1996 NBA draft. Everyone's buzzing about this high school phenom, Kobe Bryant. Charlotte drafts him 13th overall, and then bam! He's traded to the Lakers.
Yeah, you got to wonder what was going through his head.
Right, I mean, can you imagine?
That trade, it wasn't just about Kobe either. It completely changed the trajectory of the NBA.
No doubt.
You think about what the league would have looked like if that trade didn't happen. It's crazy.
Yeah, it makes you think about those big decisions and how they can have these huge ripple effects for years and years.
Absolutely.
And speaking of huge, we got to talk about those championship years with Shaq. 3 in a row. Talk about a dynasty. But the sources we've got, they paint this really interesting picture of their relationship. What is the dynamic there? Because it seemed like there was definitely some tension.
I mean, you've got these two titans of the game, both used to being the guy, and they're suddenly sharing the spotlight.
Right.
There's going to be some friction.
Of course, yeah.
But here's the thing. That tension, those clashing personalities, it kind of fueled them on the court.
Interesting.
It wasn't always pretty, but man, it was effective.
So they fed off of each other, in a way.
Yeah.
Even though, behind the scenes, maybe it wasn't all smooth sailing. Okay, but let's talk about post-Shaq Kobe.
Okay.
This is where we really see that Black Mamba persona take over.
It's like he flipped a switch.
And what better way to announce your arrival than dropping 81 points in a single game?
81. And the way he did it, it wasn't just racking up points in a blowout. He was creating his own shot, taking on double and triple teams, just willing those shots to go in. It was incredible.
Next level, right?
Absolutely.
He was on another planet that game.
Yeah, you don't see that kind of performance very often.
I mean, those high-scoring games, they take their toll, right?
Yeah.
I mean, the guy played all out all the time,
Uh-huh.
and you can't do that forever, unfortunately. Later in his career, he had more than his fair share of injuries.
Yeah, it's the dilemma every athlete faces, right?
Yeah.
When do you push?
Yeah.
When do you prioritize your long-term health? It's a tough balance.
And with Kobe, it always felt like he was pushing the limit, right? Like that 2013 Achilles injury. Most players, that's the end of the line.
Yeah.
But Kobe, he comes back, and not only that, he hits that game-winning shot against Dwayne Wade. Talk about a statement.
Isaac Kobe.
Just insane. But it's bigger than just one shot or one game,
Oh.
Even when his body started slowing down, he found other ways to contribute. He really embraced that mentorship role, guiding the younger players with that same intensity he brought to the court himself.
Absolutely. It shows you how much the game meant to him.
Right.
Right? It wasn't just about individual glory.
Right.
It was about something bigger, leaving a legacy.
And he did that with Pau Gasol, right? He really took him under his wing.
Absolutely. You look at what Gasol did after he started playing with Kobe. He went to another level.
Yeah. Those two together were something else.
They pushed each other to be better.
Yeah.
And it paid off. 2 more championships. It's incredible.
So even when he wasn't the main guy scoring all the points, he still found a way to impact the game, to lead. And then there's life after basketball. 2016, he retires.
Yeah.
And you figure the guy's achieved everything you could dream of in basketball. Time to relax, right?
Right.
But that's not Kobe.
No.
He dives headfirst into writing, starts businesses.
He even wins an Oscar.
I know, right? Dear Basketball, that short film he made, it gets me every time.
It's powerful stuff.
It's not just some vanity project either. It's
Yeah.
this really beautiful, moving reflection on his love for the game, his journey.
You can tell it came from a real place.
Totally. And it connected with people, even those who weren't huge basketball fans.
Yeah, it transcended the sport in a way.
It showed you a different side of him. And then there's the Mamba Sports Academy. That wasn't just him putting his name on something, right?
No, not at all. He was so hands-on with that.
He poured his heart and soul into that place. He wanted to create a space where young athletes could develop their skills, but also their minds.
It was about more than just basketball, right?
Right. It was about that Mamba mentality, that drive to be the best you can be in all areas of life.
Dedication, perseverance, pushing yourself to the limit. Those were the lessons he wanted to pass on.
Yeah, it's incredible. It's tough to talk about Kobe without thinking about, 2020. That helicopter crash.
Yeah.
It's still hard to believe sometimes.
It was a shock to everyone. The whole world felt that loss.
I know. And the outpouring of grief, the tributes, it showed you how many lives he touched.
He meant so much to so many people.
It really did feel like the world stopped turning that day. He represented something, This idea that if you're willing to put in the work, to be relentless, you can achieve anything. That Mamba mentality, it wasn't just about basketball.
No, absolutely not. It was about life.
It was about pushing yourself in all areas, never settling.
And I think that's what makes his story so powerful, even now. It's easy to forget with all the championships and the records, but he wasn't born a superstar. He worked for it. He struggled. He had setbacks.
He did.
But he never gave up. He used those challenges to fuel him to become better. He tore his Achilles, one of the worst injuries for a basketball player, and he came back from it. He reinvented himself after basketball, became an Oscar-winning filmmaker, a successful entrepreneur.
Yeah, and the Mamba Sports Academy, that was so important to him, He wanted to pass on those lessons to help the next generation reach their potential.
And that's his legacy, isn't it?
It is not just the championships, the points, the awards. It's that drive, that refusal to quit. It's about embracing the process, the grind, and never letting go of your dreams. That's the Mamba mentality. So as we wrap up this deep dive on Kobe, I think the question we should all ask ourselves is, what's our Mamba mentality? What are we truly passionate about? And are we willing to attack it with everything we've got, just like Kobe did?
Wow. That's a powerful question. And I think you're right. That's the best way to honor his legacy, to find that fire within ourselves and go after our goals with that same relentless spirit.
Well said. And to everyone listening, thank you for joining us for another deep dive. Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep that Mamba mentality alive.